The sky over Earth was clear that morning. Birds sang, cars moved through quiet streets, and people went about their lives, thinking it was just another ordinary day. No one could have imagined that in a few minutes, everything would change forever. It began as a faint shimmer in the sky, almost like sunlight bouncing off the clouds. But then the shimmer grew larger, darker, and more solid. People stopped in the streets, staring upward in confusion and fear. Across the world, phones lit up with live videos of the same phenomenon: massive objects descending from space. At first, they looked like stars, then like enormous metallic giants, casting shadows over entire cities. Governments scrambled jets and satellites. Scientists ran calculations and simulations, trying to understand what was coming, but no one had ever seen anything like it. These ships were enormous, larger than any human city, sleek and black, with glowing lines of light running along their hulls. Their shapes were angular, sharp, and alien, yet somehow elegant, like weapons built for war and control. And then, a message came. Not in words humans spoke, not in sounds, but in a perfect, clear telepathic voice that echoed inside every human mind at once. Humans of Earth, you are insignificant. You are primitive, you are beneath notice. Surrender now or face total destruction. Panic swept through the world. People screamed, ran, and hid. Governments held emergency meetings. Military forces were mobilized, and every television, phone, and radio broadcast repeated the alien message. News anchors stuttered, unable to find words. Some cities even began evacuations, but not everyone panicked. Deep underground in a small lab, a group of scientists stared at the alien ships with calm curiosity. Among them was Dr. Lena Carter, a physicist who had always believed that humans could achieve the impossible. She leaned over a console, scanning the signals from the alien ships. "They're confident," she said quietly. "Too confident. Their communication is too simple. They think we will just obey." Her assistant, a young engineer named Ravi, frowned. "You think we can fight them?" Dr. Carter shook her head. "Not fight. Outthink them. They don't understand humans. That is our advantage." Across the world, people watched in terror as the alien ships hovered silently over the oceans, cities, and mountains. The ships were enormous, casting shadows that stretched for miles. The aliens' presence was overwhelming. Even the largest armies of Earth felt small and powerless. Fighter jets scrambled, missiles were armed, but everyone knew these humans were no match for the ships above. And yet, something strange happened. In a small park in downtown London, a child sat on a bench eating ice cream. She looked up at the giant ship slowly descending above the city. Instead of screaming, instead of crying, she tilted her head, studied it, and then laughed. Her laughter was light, innocent, but it echoed strangely against the massive metal of the alien ship. People around her turned to see why she was laughing. Some smiled nervously, others stared in confusion. The alien ship above, however, seemed to pause. Its lights flickered as if the beings inside were surprised. No one had expected laughter. Dr. Carter, watching the same event on her monitors, smiled faintly. "See," she said to Ravi, "they expect fear. They don't understand humans yet. And that is our strength." As the hours passed, the aliens made their demands clear. Cities were to surrender immediately. Human leaders were ordered to appear on screens across the globe and pledge obedience. Governments obeyed at first, issuing statements of compliance and trying to calm their citizens. But humans by nature are unpredictable. Even in fear, they could not entirely give up their spirit. In New York, a group of street performers gathered near Times Square, laughing at the gigantic shadow above, mimicking the alien stiff movements. Waving at the hovering ship as if greeting an old friend, videos went viral within minutes. Across the world, millions watched and laughed along. Even though fear still lingered, humanity's reaction surprised the aliens. Deep within the alien ships, commanders with multiple eyes and sharp features watched the humans' behavior. Confusion turned to frustration. Their centuries of conquest had taught them that all civilizations reacted with fear. All, except humans. On the streets of Paris, a man held up a sign. "If you are so powerful, can you juggle this?" He balanced 3 oranges, tossing them up in the air with a grin. The aliens above paused again. They did not understand this gesture. To them it was meaningless, but to humans it was defiance, humor, and courage all in one. And then, the satellites picked up something strange. Across the globe, scientists discovered a subtle frequency emitted by the alien ships. It was not random, it was communication, and it was something humans could intercept, something humans could use. Dr. Carter leaned forward, her eyes gleaming. "This is it. This is our chance. They think we are weak, that we will kneel, but humans never kneel. We laugh, we adapt, and we fight in ways they will never understand." As night fell over Earth, the alien ships remained in the sky, glowing ominously, silent but observing. Humans across the world stayed awake, watching, waiting, and thinking. They were scared, yes, but fear was not the only emotion in the human heart, and somewhere in the shadows, a plan was beginning to form. A plan that would show the galaxy that humans are not so easy to conquer. The first day of the alien arrival ended with one fact clear to everyone: aliens had underestimated Earth. They expected fear, they expected submission, they expected obedience. But what they got instead was laughter. And laughter, the humans knew, could be more dangerous than any weapon. The sun rose over Earth, but the shadow of the alien ship still lingered. They had not moved. They hovered silently, like colossal statues of metal and light, observing every corner of the planet. Governments tried to maintain control, but panic still ran through the streets. Yet, amidst the fear, humans were beginning to do something the aliens had not anticipated. They were watching back, in a specially built command center beneath the Rocky Mountains. Scientists and military officers worked together, analyzing the alien signals. Screens flickered with alien symbols, energy readings, and video feeds from drones sent up into the skies. Dr. Lena Carter, still calm despite the growing tension, leaned over a console, tapping furiously at a keyboard. "They think their power will intimidate us," she said. "But they don't know humans. They think obedience is natural. It isn't." Her assistant Ravi frowned. "But Lena, they are massive. Their weapons, their ships. We can't possibly fight them. How do we stop them?" Dr. Carter smiled faintly. "We don't stop them by force. We stop them by thinking, by understanding their weaknesses, by being unpredictable." Meanwhile, across the world, alien ambassadors prepared to make their grand first appearance. They were not humanoid. Their forms were tall, angular, with skin like polished metal. Their eyes glowed a bright yellow, and they moved with a stiffness that seemed almost mechanical. They had come to assert dominance, to show humans the true meaning of fear. When the aliens landed in major cities, a tense silence fell. Humans were told to gather in public squares to witness their leaders pledge obedience. Military units surrounded the areas, trying to maintain control. But the humans' reactions were not what the aliens expected. In Tokyo, crowds gathered, fear evident in their faces. Yet, whispers began to spread among the people. Someone shouted a joke about the aliens' glowing eyes. Another person imitated the aliens' stiff posture. Soon, laughter broke out, hesitant at first, then louder, filling the square. The aliens froze, their glowing eyes narrowing. Confusion passed across their faces. They did not understand this reaction. Fear was supposed to be instant, obedience expected. Across the Atlantic, in New York City, a famous news anchor was live on air, broadcasting the alien arrival. As the ambassador began speaking, his voice booming across every channel, the anchor smirked. He held up a cardboard sign with alien symbols drawn on it and made silly faces at the hovering ships. Millions of humans watching at home laughed, shaking their heads. The aliens' intended demonstration of dominance had become a global joke. Inside the alien ships, commanders barked orders at each other in a language humans could barely understand. Their plan was simple: demand surrender, intimidate, and conquer. Yet humans were not following the script. They were mocking it. They were laughing at it, and that was dangerous. At the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Carter leaned closer to her screens. "Ravi, look at this." She pointed to a series of signals coming from the alien ships. "These patterns, they're repeating their language, their commands. We can predict them. And if we can predict them, we can interfere with them." Ravi's eyes widened. "You mean we can fight them using their own signals?" "Yes," Dr. Carter replied. "Not with bombs or guns, but with cleverness. Their arrogance is their weakness." Meanwhile, a small group of humans had begun approaching the alien ambassadors in cities around the world. They were not soldiers, not politicians, but ordinary people, artists, engineers, and even children. They didn't kneel, they didn't beg. Instead, they asked questions, they joked, they drew cartoons of the aliens' funny postures. And everywhere the humans went, laughter followed. The aliens tried to react. They threatened humans with their technology ships hovering closer, weapons glowing ominously. But each time, humans found a way to turn the situation into a joke, a distraction, a defiance. A man in Paris held up a mirror at the alien ambassador, showing it its own reflection. Millions watched online as the alien seemed confused, tilting its head as if trying to understand. In Washington, world leaders finally realized something crucial. Their armies alone could not face these beings, but ordinary humans were beginning to find courage in the unlikeliest ways. Across continents, communities formed secret plans to communicate, to watch, and to learn the aliens' patterns. People who had never met before were working together, sharing ideas. Dr. Carter addressed her team. "We need to be careful. Every move we make is being observed. They are expecting fear, but fear is predictable. Laughter, humor, and creativity they cannot anticipate. That is our strength." Outside, the skies were filled with drones and small scout ships sent by humans. They moved quickly, studying the alien vessels, testing their shields, analyzing their energy beams. Each failed attempt by the aliens to intimidate humans only made the people more confident. Humans were learning, adapting, thinking faster than the aliens ever expected. And then, a strange event occurred. A young child in Rio de Janeiro laughed at the alien ambassador, imitating its glowing eyes with two small flashlights. The alien froze. For a moment it seemed almost shocked. The child's laughter spread across social media, and suddenly millions of humans were joining in, each laugh echoing across the planet, shaking the confidence of the galactic invaders. For the first time, the aliens realized they had underestimated humans. They had expected obedience, fear, and submission. What they found instead was curiosity, humor, and defiance. And while humans were scared, their courage was unpredictable, their laughter contagious. As night fell over Earth, the alien ships continued to hover, silent, observing. But humanity was awake, aware, and learning. They had faced a threat unlike any before, and yet, they had not broken, they had not knelt. The stage was set for something greater, something the galaxy had never seen. Humans were no longer just subjects under the shadow of the Galactic Empire, they were players in a story the aliens had not written. And somewhere in the shadows, Dr. Carter whispered, they think this is the beginning. But it is only the first contact. And humanity will show them that we are not so easy to control. The first night of the aliens' occupation ended with a single truth. Humans were unpredictable, and the galaxy had yet to see their full power. The alien ships still hovered over Earth like silent judges, their massive shadows stretching across cities, oceans, and forests. Inside, the alien commanders scowled at screens showing humans moving about below. They had expected obedience, they had expected fear. What they did not expect was the laughter, the mockery, the sheer audacity of humanity. In London, crowds gathered in Trafalgar Square. At first, people came quietly, hesitant to challenge the alien presence. But as more humans joined, someone began to mimic the stiff posture of the alien ambassadors. Another person waved exaggeratedly, imitating their glowing eyes with flashlights. Soon, laughter erupted. It spread like wildfire. Tourists, street performers, and office workers joined in, all copying the aliens in exaggerated, funny ways. The aliens tried to respond. Their leader spoke through a massive hologram, demanding obedience, warning of destruction, and projecting beams of light toward the gathering. Humans froze for a moment, but then someone pulled out a drone and flew it right into the beam, filming the encounter live. The beam bounced harmlessly off, and the crowd cheered. Someone held up a sign that said, "Is that all you've got?" Across the Pacific, in Sydney, a group of teenagers climbed to the top of a building, waving their arms like alien wings and posting the footage online. Millions around the globe watched and laughed. Social media became a battlefield of humor and defiance. Humans created memes mocking the aliens' shapes, their glowing eyes, and their stiff gestures. Each post, each video, each laugh, chipped away at the aliens' confidence. Inside the alien ships, frustration grew. Commanders banged their metallic fists against consoles. "Why do they mock us?" one asked. "They should fear us." Another alien replied, "This is illogical. All species submit. All species obey. Why not humans?" The humans' laughter was not empty. It was intentional. Leaders of the underground resistance, scientists and engineers realized that humor was more than defiance, it was a weapon. It drew the aliens' attention, disrupted their focus, and gave humans a psychological edge. Dr. Lena Carter watched from her command center. "They expect fear," she said. "Fear is predictable. Laughter is chaos, and chaos humans can control." Ravi nodded. "So every joke, every prank, every funny video is part of a plan?" "Yes," Lena replied. "Every act of mockery teaches us about them and teaches them that they cannot control us. That is power." In New York, the mockery became bolder. Street performers dressed in alien-inspired costumes, exaggerated and colorful, parading through Times Square. They mimicked alien gestures, danced, and even pretended to command humans below them. Drones flew overhead, broadcasting the spectacle to the alien ships above. The aliens tried to retaliate. They unleashed a low-energy beam toward the performers, but humans were ready. They triggered an array of reflective surfaces, mirrors, polished metal plates, and even shiny umbrellas, redirecting the beam harmlessly into the sky. The aliens recoiled, confused. Their threat had been neutralized not with weapons, but with cleverness and creativity. In Paris, a famous artist created a massive mural on a wall, painting the aliens as comic characters with huge eyes and funny expressions. Crowds gathered to watch the mural take shape, laughing and cheering as they added their own touches. Cameras captured every moment. The image went viral worldwide, spreading mockery faster than any alien threat could travel. Even in military zones, humans found ways to undermine the aliens with humor. Pilots wearing bright, ridiculous uniforms performed synchronized maneuvers, intentionally teasing the alien drones. Engineers hacked alien signals, creating distorted messages that played across the alien screens. The invaders grew more frustrated with every passing hour. Dr. Carter observed all of this with a quiet smile. "They are powerful," she admitted to Ravi, "but they are rigid. They cannot adapt to humor. They cannot understand it. And that is exactly what makes humans strong. Fear is simple. Laughter is complex." Somewhere in Rio de Janeiro, a young girl climbed a small hill and shouted at the hovering ship, waving her arms wildly. "We are not afraid of you," she cried. Her words were simple, childish, yet broadcast across millions of devices in real time. The aliens attempted to respond, but their signals were intercepted and repeated back in distorted forms, making them sound ridiculous. The girl laughed, the crowd laughed, and millions more laughed online. As night fell, humans across the globe continued their mockery. People in Tokyo, London, New York, and Paris shared videos, photos, and messages, creating a global wave of defiance. The aliens had intended to demonstrate absolute control. Instead, they were being taught a lesson in human unpredictability. Inside the alien flagship, a council of commanders argued fiercely. "This is impossible," one growled. "They are supposed to kneel. They are supposed to fear. How can laughter be so dangerous?" Another replied, "It is not fear they lack, it is submission. They think they are clever. They are laughing at us." Back on Earth, Dr. Carter watched all of this unfold, her mind racing. "This is the beginning," she said. "We have learned something important. Strength is not just about weapons. Strength is about spirit, courage, and creativity in humanity. Humanity has it in abundance." By the end of the day, the aliens had realized something terrifying. They were powerful, yes, their ships were massive, their weapons deadly. But humans, ordinary, chaotic, unpredictable humans, were capable of a strength no machine could calculate. And so, as night blanketed the planet, humans across Earth slept uneasily, aware of the aliens' presence but unbroken. Laughter had become a shield, defiance, a weapon. They had not knelt, they had not surrendered. And the aliens, for the first time in their history, had been humiliated by a species they thought would be weak. Somewhere in the shadows, Dr. Carter whispered, "This is only the beginning. They thought humans would kneel. Instead, we laughed. And now, they will pay attention to every move we make." The first acts of mockery had turned the tide in the invisible war of spirit, setting the stage for something far greater. Humanity was awake, aware, and ready. The alien ships remained in the sky, massive and silent, their presence a constant reminder of the galaxy's power. But humans had changed. Across the world, laughter and mockery had given way to observation, learning, and preparation. The aliens had expected fear and submission, but they were beginning to understand that humans were unpredictable, clever, and dangerous in ways they had never imagined. Deep underground, Dr. Lena Carter studied the alien signals. Her team had been intercepting communication patterns from the ships for days, learning how the aliens coordinated their attacks. The discovery was subtle, yet powerful. Every move the aliens made followed a predictable rhythm, a rhythm humans could anticipate. "They're going to test us," Dr. Carter said, pointing to the console. "Every species they encounter, they strike first. They measure our fear, our obedience, our weakness. But humans, we are not weak." Ravi, her assistant, leaned forward, squinting at the screen. "You really think we can outsmart them? Their technology is beyond anything we've built." Dr. Carter shook her head. "Not by building bigger weapons. By thinking differently. By using their arrogance against them." And the test began. At dawn, across several oceans, the alien ships unleashed small strikes, waves of energy beams and drones, designed to scare humans into compliance. Entire coastal cities experienced sudden blackouts, explosions, and shockwaves. People ran in terror, unsure if they would survive. Governments braced their military forces for retaliation, but humans reacted differently than expected. In Tokyo, engineers had already prepared. They deployed reflective shields across key locations, diverting the energy beams harmlessly into the ocean. In New York, drone pilots released swarms of miniature decoys, drawing alien fire away from populated areas. Each test attack failed to produce the fear the aliens had counted on. Even in small towns, humans improvised. Farmers used tractor beams and homemade EMP devices to disable scout drones. Students hacked into local communication networks to spread warnings and instructions. Across the globe, humans learned from each strike, adapting faster than the aliens could anticipate. The aliens watched in confusion from their ships. They had expected panic, screams, and submission. Instead, they saw humans helping one another, laughing at their failures, and turning attacks into opportunities to study the invaders' technology. In Paris, a group of civilians created an elaborate decoy, a massive hologram of a human city, glowing and animated, designed to attract alien fire. As the beam struck, the hologram shattered dramatically, fooling the alien sensors. The real city remained untouched. Crowds cheered. The aliens' confidence wavered. Meanwhile, Dr. Carter's team was working on something bigger. Using the alien communication signals they had intercepted, they developed a method to interfere with the ship's targeting systems. Small pulses of altered signals could confuse the alien drones, misdirect their weapons, and even cause minor malfunctions in their massive ships. "They think they are testing our strengths," Dr. Carter said, "but they are teaching us their weaknesses." By mid-afternoon, the aliens escalated. A massive flagship descended near the coast of Africa, its presence causing panic worldwide. Its energy shields glowed ominously, and its weapons hummed with lethal potential. The humans did not flee. Instead, they watched, studied, and prepared. Across the globe, resistance groups coordinated like never before. Engineers, soldiers, and civilians shared information, passing data on alien energy patterns, drone movements, and ship vulnerabilities. Humans were turning fear into strategy, chaos into order. And then, the first direct encounter happened. A human reconnaissance drone approached the flagship, attempting to gather intelligence. A beam shot toward it, precise, powerful, and deadly. The drone wobbled, then recovered, thanks to clever programming and quick reflexes. It sent back images of the flagship's energy nodes, weak points, and vulnerable angles. The aliens were not expecting such defiance. In Washington, world leaders watched the data with amazement. Military experts analyzed the findings. Ordinary humans, armed with creativity and courage, were now learning the aliens' strengths and weaknesses faster than any professional army. The aliens tried to push harder. Drones swarmed major cities, weapons fired, and energy pulses caused chaos. But humans were ready. In London, civilians lured the drones into narrow alleys lined with mirrors, bouncing the beams harmlessly into the sky. In Sydney, engineers used EMP bursts to disable the drones mid-air. Children and adults alike laughed at the alien failures, their amusement a direct counter to fear. Inside the alien flagship, commanders argued furiously. Why do they resist? One demanded, all species obey. All species fear. They do not fear us, another replied, and they do not obey. Their minds are different, unpredictable. Their laughter, it is unnatural. Back on Earth, Dr. Carter smiled at the reports streaming in from around the world. They think strength is in their weapons. They are wrong. Strength is in the human mind and creativity, and in courage. Today, we passed their test not by surrendering, but by standing tall. As night fell, humans across the globe knew one thing. The aliens had underestimated them. They had come expecting fear. They had come expecting obedience. Instead, they found resistance, ingenuity, and laughter. And while the alien ships still cast shadows over Earth, humans were no longer afraid. The first test had failed for the invaders, and humanity had shown, quietly but clearly, that even in the face of overwhelming power, they could survive, adapt, and fight back. Dr. Carter leaned back, her eyes on the stars beyond the ships. This is only the beginning, she whispered. They will escalate. They will try harder, but humans are unpredictable, and the galaxy has yet to see what we are truly capable of. Somewhere in the massive flagship, an alien commander muttered in frustration. They are dangerous. They are not like any species we have conquered. And on Earth, humans slept uneasily but proudly, aware of the coming challenges, yet confident in one truth. They would not kneel, and they would not fear. The first test of strength had ended. Humanity had passed, not with force, but with courage, intelligence, and a stubborn, unyielding spirit. The night was calm, but the calm was deceptive. Across the globe, humans were awake not in fear, but in preparation. They had learned from the aliens' first test. They knew the invaders were powerful, yes, but they had also seen their weakness, arrogance, rigidity, and overconfidence. Humanity's plan was simple in concept, yet daring in execution. They would strike back, not with blind force, but with cleverness, unity, and courage. In the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Lena Carter gathered her team. Screens displayed maps of alien ships, energy readings, and drone movements. Engineers, soldiers, and scientists worked side by side, coordinating efforts with precision. Ravi leaned over a console, tapping a series of commands into the system. Dr. Carter, are we ready? He asked. Lena nodded. They believe they are untouchable. That belief will be their downfall. Tonight, we hit where it hurts, in ways they cannot predict. Humanity's first move was subtle but brilliant. Drones equipped with small EMP pulses, programmed to mimic alien signals, were deployed across key cities. These drones could confuse alien sensors, misdirect their weapons, and disable smaller ships. Humans combined technology with strategy, creating traps that the aliens could never anticipate. In London, a massive blackout was simulated, drawing alien drones into abandoned streets. Engineers rigged reflective panels and mirrored surfaces, redirecting energy beams harmlessly into the sky. The aliens fired relentlessly, yet every strike missed its target. Humans had turned their fear into a weapon. Meanwhile, in New York, a group of civilian hackers intercepted alien communication signals. They broadcast false messages, creating confusion among the invaders. One ship aimed at Manhattan, but the signals redirected its course, sending it careening harmlessly into the Atlantic. Humans cheered. The aliens were stunned. Their centuries of dominance had failed against ordinary humans armed with ingenuity. Across the Pacific, in Sydney, volunteers used electromagnetic pulses to disable alien drones in midair. Streets were filled with people coordinating via handheld devices, guiding the drones, and avoiding destruction. The aliens' confidence continued to crumble with every failed attempt. Even children played a role. In Rio de Janeiro, young tech enthusiasts remotely controlled small robots, distracting alien drones with holographic projections of humans. The invaders had anticipated resistance from soldiers and engineers, but not from children armed with creativity. The aliens, growing frustrated, decided to demonstrate their ultimate weapon, a massive energy cannon on the flagship hovering over the Sahara Desert. It hummed ominously, preparing to fire a wave capable of leveling entire cities. Their message was clear. Humanity had one chance to surrender, but humans were ready. Using the signals intercepted from the previous test attacks, Dr. Carter and her team created a countermeasure. They deployed a series of synchronized EMP pulses, drones, and reflective surfaces to confuse the targeting system. When the cannon fired, the beam dispersed harmlessly into the sky, its path altered by human ingenuity. The alien flagship rocked as the attack failed. Commanders barked orders, their glowing eyes narrowing in disbelief. They had underestimated humans once again. They had assumed power alone would force obedience. They were learning slowly and painfully that strength alone did not guarantee victory. In Washington, world leaders watched as humans across the globe coordinated attacks with precision. Civilians, engineers, and soldiers worked in harmony, turning every threat into an opportunity. The energy beams, the drones, and even the alien ships themselves were now vulnerable, not because humans had bigger weapons, but because they had thought differently. Dr. Carter addressed her team. They rely on fear to control others. We do not fear them. We adapt. We innovate. We fight with intelligence, creativity, and unity. Tonight we show them what it means to underestimate humans. By dawn, alien ships across the world were malfunctioning. Drones were crashing, smaller ships disabled, and energy systems disrupted. The aliens had come expecting a quick victory. Instead, they faced a planet united in defiance, a species unwilling to kneel. Armed not with invincible weapons, but with unyielding spirit. In New York's Times Square, civilians cheered as alien drones fell from the sky, harmlessly crashing into empty streets. In Paris, children danced under the shadow of hovering ships, waving flags and shouting at the invaders. The aliens' technology was impressive, yes, but it could not match the human will. Inside the alien flagship, panic spread. Commanders shouted, their systems failing. Their arrogance had blinded them. They had thought humans weak, obedient, and predictable. But humans were none of those things. Humans laughed, adapted, and struck back in ways the aliens could never foresee. As the sun rose over Earth, a single fact was undeniable. Humanity had survived. Humanity had fought back. Humanity had proven that intelligence, creativity, and courage could triumph over raw power. Dr. Carter looked out of the command center's observation window, watching the first rays of sunlight touch the massive alien ships. They came to conquer us, she whispered, but they learned something instead. Humans cannot be controlled. Humans do not kneel, and we laugh even in the face of the impossible. Across the globe, people celebrated quietly, aware that the fight was not yet over, but proud of what they had achieved. The alien forces had been humiliated. Their first strike turned against them. Humanity had shown the galaxy that their spirit was stronger than fear, stronger than weapons, stronger than any alien arrogance. And somewhere in the massive flagship, a commander whispered to another, his voice tinged with disbelief and fear. This species, they are not like any we have conquered. They are dangerous. Humans slept that morning with one truth clear in their hearts. They had faced the invaders, they had struck back, and the galaxy had been reminded that humanity was not weak. The war was far from over, but humanity had taken the first step, and the aliens, for the first time in their history, had learned a valuable lesson. Never underestimate the human spirit. The alien ships that had once cast terrifying shadows over Earth now hovered silently, damaged and confused. Their weapons were weakened, their drones disabled, and their confidence shattered. Humanity had survived the first encounter and fought back not with raw strength, but with courage, creativity, and unity. The galaxy had been reminded that humans were not to be underestimated. Across the world, humans emerged from hiding. Cities once silent in fear now buzzed with cautious celebration. Streets were filled with people helping one another, repairing damage, and sharing stories of bravery. Children laughed at the memory of the aliens' confused expressions, and adults marveled at the teamwork that had saved millions of lives. In the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Lena Carter and her team worked tirelessly, analyzing the aliens' behavior and recording every observation. The world watched as data streamed in from drones, satellites, and field operatives. Humanity had learned more about the aliens in a single night than the invaders had ever expected. They underestimated us, Dr. Carter said quietly, her eyes fixed on the glowing screens. They assumed fear would control us. They assumed obedience would follow. But humans are unpredictable, creative, and courageous. That is why we survived, and why we will continue to survive. Ravi nodded, exhaustion and pride in his eyes. Do you think they'll come back? Of course, Lena replied. But they will never underestimate humans again. They've learned the hard way that fear and power alone cannot control us. Laughter, ingenuity, and spirit are weapons they cannot calculate. In New York, Paris, London, Tokyo, and countless other cities, humans celebrated quietly yet proudly. It was not a celebration of conquest or destruction, but of survival and unity. People who had never spoken to one another shared smiles, repaired homes, and helped the injured. Humans had faced an impossible enemy and had shown that courage and cleverness could prevail. Meanwhile, the aliens convened in their flagship. Their commanders, faces glowing with frustration and confusion, argued fiercely. How could this species, one growled. They are weak, primitive, and yet, they fought back with intelligence and courage. This is unacceptable. Another commander, calmer yet no less furious, replied. They are different. They think in ways we cannot predict. They do not obey. They do not fear. They mock us, and they adapt. Always adapt. We underestimated them, and it has cost us. Back on Earth, humans had begun to rebuild. Scientists studied the alien technology, not to use it as a weapon but to understand it. Engineers improved communications, defense systems, and drones. Humanity had gained knowledge, confidence, and a new understanding of what they could achieve when united. In a quiet park in Rio de Janeiro, a child looked up at the sky, pointing to a damaged alien ship. "We did it," she said with a giggle. Nearby, her parents smiled. Across the globe, similar scenes unfolded, laughter replacing fear, courage replacing panic. Humanity had survived not because they were stronger in power, but because they were stronger in spirit. Dr. Carter addressed the world in a broadcast, her voice calm but firm. Today, humanity faced a force greater than anything we have ever known. They expected obedience, they expected fear. And yet, we have endured. We have fought back with intelligence, creativity, and courage. The galaxy has learned a lesson. Humans do not kneel. Humans do not surrender. Humans, we laugh in the face of the impossible. Her words spread across the planet, inspiring millions. Humans who had been hiding, terrified, now stood tall. They were united by a single truth. Fear had not broken them. Arrogance had not crushed them. The human spirit had endured, and it had triumphed. In the following days, alien ships began to retreat. Their commanders realized that Earth was not a planet to conquer easily. The humans' ingenuity, resilience, and unity had made them a formidable opponent. The galaxy would speak of this species for centuries not as weak, primitive beings, but as unpredictable, clever, and courageous warriors of spirit. On the streets, humans celebrated quietly but proudly. Fireworks lit up the skies in Tokyo, songs filled Parisian squares, and laughter echoed across New York. Yet beneath the celebrations was a sense of readiness. Humans knew the aliens might return, but they also knew this: if they ever did, humanity would be ready. They had learned that courage, creativity, and laughter were more powerful than fear and weapons combined. Dr. Carter, standing in the command center, looked out at the night sky where the alien ships had once loomed. "They thought they could scare us," she whispered. "They thought humans would kneel, but we laughed. And in that laughter we found strength, unity, and hope." The world had changed. Humanity had faced the galaxy's mightiest invaders and had survived. They had learned that fear was not the only path, that unity and cleverness could triumph, and that even in the darkest hour, courage and laughter could light the way. Somewhere above the Earth, the alien commanders watched, humbled and cautious. They had underestimated humans, and it had cost them. The galaxy had learned a lesson that would not be forgotten. Humans were not weak. Humans were not simple. Humans were a force of spirit, unpredictability, and courage. And on Earth, as people slept under the stars, a single truth resonated in every heart. They had faced the impossible, and they had survived. They had not knelt. They had laughed. And that laughter, that spirit, would echo across the galaxy forever.